The first thing is to realize that there's no idea that is new. It's only people who are bold enough to run with the ideas that are few and far between. What we encourage entrepreneurs to do is to be authentic. If you're authentic with what you do, you don't have to worry about people stealing your ideas or stealing your business. So authenticity is very key. The unfortunate situation with many people in our community is that there are few original ideas. Once they see somebody is doing it, everybody wants to follow through. That's not necessary. Do what you can with what you have, and other things will take care of themselves. Too many of us, you don't need to be another person. Just look inwards. God helping you, do a SWOT analysis. What can I do? It's because many of us, the average person, human being, can do more than one thing. That's why I commend people who are actually getting their fingers burnt, because many people have ideas. But one of the challenges is that many people want the conditions to be perfect. And one concept I know and understand is what's called progressive elaboration. Progressive elaboration means you don't know the full picture, but at least you know the scope of what you're trying to do. And as you build, it gets better, it gets clearer, it gets more defined. Folks who want every condition to be perfect, they have the money, they have the resource, would never step forward. You need to put a bet on yourself.
Hello and welcome. I am Promise Okoye on Nigerian. Today we are joined by Emmanuel Tunde Adebola, Executive Director of AME Global. Emmanuel is a visionary leader dedicated to empowering Black businesses and fostering collaborations for economic prosperity. This is yet another inspiring success story of an African immigrant making a global impact. And this time, it is Nigerian trailblazer transforming the business ecosystem for the better. All right, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. Before the interview, you touched on a couple of things that I want us to begin from. And that one is that you started off with just 8 members of your team, and now you've been able to spread to various countries, and you've gone global, and you have well over 500 people. Tell us, what has this story been like for you?
Well, thank you very much. The idea started because I came in as an immigrant with a work permit, and one of the things I realized on a personal note was that even though I had a fantastic career, I struggled to break into the system here in Canada. And when I eventually came out of that, I realized that there were many people like me who came in with strong resumes, but if care wasn't taken, the environment was going to turn them into misfit, as it were. The focus was on Nigerians, and we set up to establish that foundation, and we had a very good start. The idea caught on because many people were actually looking for jobs, but we encourage people that you can actually be a job creator. And that's, we grew very quickly from 8 people. 8 people registered a WhatsApp community in August, and by December of 2023, we had hit 162 members. But then what also happened was that about that time, we also realized that given that we're in a country like Canada, which is multicultural, there was a need to actually expand beyond just a focus on one demographic group. And that's why beginning of 2024, we grew our network beyond just the focus on Nigerians to the Black community across Canada. And that's us, building networks across Canada, which has been good and led us to have about, in August of this year, we had almost 500, we had 523 members. But what also happened was that we realized that there was a need to solve for Nigeria and solve for the Black community. So we had a spin-off of an organization which is now focused on solving for Nigerians, whereas ANA Global has scaled, not just operating within Canada, but now has members in the US, Europe, Africa, and Australia, and we're going forward. And what we've done even more recently is that we've then redefined our scope to now focusing on peoples of African descent. And why? Because whereas we started with just Black community, we also realized there were people born in Africa, Indians, Chinese people who sort of struggle with their identity. A good example is the Minister of Small Business, Richie Valdez. She's Filipino, but she was born in Kitwe, Zambia, before migrating to Canada. So those people can now qualify to be members of Alliance Network.
Right. Emmanuel, I think for purposes of having our viewers understand exactly what you do, probably just walk us through what your organization actually do in specifics. And I also know that the name is ANE. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with that acronym and the specific services and the impact it's making in the Black communities.
Thank you very much. So originally we started up registered as Alliance of Nigerian Entrepreneurs because our primary focus was on Nigerians. But as we scaled, we then changed the name to ANE. ANE still meant Alliance of Nigerian Entrepreneurs, but as we began to bring more people on board, we had to redefine that name, and that's why it's called Alliance Network of Entrepreneurs Global. But in terms of our service offerings, what we do is that we provide services from ideation to commercialization for aspiring business owners. We support people who are looking to start up or scale up. We have a thriving network community that allows people to engage from time to time, either through physical events that we host or through our WhatsApp community where people are constantly engaged, building relationships, and taking it from there. The other thing is that our network allows people who already have businesses to have a ready market where they can sell their products and services, and that is catching on very well. I was just sharing earlier on the group. We had a recent event, a Black Empowerment and Summit month, just exactly a month ago, and somebody where I am who attended the event said he met somebody, a group there, and got a sale the very next week. And this is not even a black person. This is just somebody that attended the event. So it's a fantastic group that provides opportunity to sell. But then the other thing we do is that we provide different kinds of training, enablement, to ensure that people can actually go beyond just having ideas to actually testing and understanding what it means to succeed. Because as great as entrepreneurship is, it's not guesswork. You need to understand what exactly you're doing. Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant model is actually fantastic. On the left side, you have employee, self-employed, but what we try to do is move over to the right side. We have a business owner and an investor, and it's very important we define that when we say entrepreneurs, we're not talking of self-employed people. We're talking of business owners that actually have the ability to have developed systems and are paying taxes and are value adding to the community. So what we pitch to the government of Canada is that we're helping you to repurpose people who typically would have, taking your social service amenities to actually making these entrepreneurs who you can rely on. And so the government of Canada is very excited and supportive of what we're doing. We've developed extensive relationships in this short time with the Federal Minister of Small Business, Reggie Valdez, who was a keynote speaker at our event, and ditto for so many of them. So there are lots of other things we're doing, but I don't know how much. We've also built extensive partnership with networks in the ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystem, whether it is regional innovation centers in Ontario or grant providers or economic development organizations. We build that because I personally am also an economic development consultant. So I think that has helped in us developing those relationships.
Right. My understanding is that you help businesses from, like you said, from ideation to launching out in their business. Yeah. So specifically, do you help them with probably business registrations? Do you help them with sorting for grants? Do you help them with writing business statements and stuff like that? Are these some of the things you do for businesses?
Okay, so what we do, and I like that, going to that level of detail. So what we typically do is that we help them come on board and we discuss opportunities that they have, help to crystallize the idea. There's something we call value proposition. The value proposition needs to follow these 4 steps, very simple. What is the problem? Define the problem. Who are the people doing it now? Because there's no idea you have that is from the sky. Everything has been done before. So who are the people addressing it now? So once we've done that, the next thing is, where are the gaps? And last but not least, what are you bringing that is new? What are your credentials? What are your assets that will make them? So we help people break it down. So it's not just emotion, because emotion will not sustain anything. So there's the training along those lines. And then the other thing is, depending on what kind of offering it is, if it's technology, the good thing is that Canada is very interested in technology type offerings. So we can connect our members with existing incubators. There's Tech Place, for instance, in Burlington. There are a host of them. The good thing is that they now respect and regard us, so we've partnered with them so that we can, bring people in there to do this work. One of the things we've also been able to do very quickly as a measure of success is we know what our core is. We're not trying to be all things to all people, which we wanted to do initially. For instance, beginning of this year, we moved from being an association to being a chamber of commerce. But we realized, no, we returned to being an association, but we're now partnering with chambers of commerce.
Right.
So we encourage our members So that's pretty much, so we're an extension, if you will, to the bigger ecosystem that can help people. And that's been wonderful so far.
Yeah, Emmanuel, you are very heavy on collaboration, and I've seen that in so many other platforms where you've shown up talking about how you help people network. And through the network, you've given birth to a lot of success stories around the community. But tell us a little bit about the strategy that you have been able to employ. How do entrepreneurs build a partnership? How do they collaborate with people doing similar business? And let's just pose that with the fact that doing business, people tend to be a bit careful these days. They want to make sure that they're dealing with the right partners. You know what I'm talking about. So how are you going to advise our viewers as far as partnership and making sure that it is the right one and you're getting the value for it?
Thank you. The first thing is to realize that there's no idea that is new. It's only people who are bold enough to run with the ideas that are few and far between. What we encourage entrepreneurs to do is to be authentic. If you're authentic with what you do, you don't have to worry about people stealing your ideas or stealing your business. Because I'll give you an example. I know an organization that started similar to what we're doing. Oh, Steve Jobs is even a good example where he started the organization, they chased him away, but he was able to develop new skills. When he came back, he built bigger, better, and faster. So authenticity is very key. The unfortunate situation with many people in our community is that there are few original ideas. Once they see somebody is doing it, everybody wants to follow through. That's not necessary. Take stock. What are your strengths, and how can you become a better version of what product may be? That's what innovation is that you're starting something new or making something good better. So that's one of the things we do. And having realized that we live what we preach. Initially, when we started, I'll be honest with you, we measured our success by how we were doing with organizations that we met. But all of a sudden we realized, no, we're into entrepreneurship development. Stay locked in what you do. And then we partner with others to kind of be like a value chain. So like today, there are organizations like ACBN, African Caribbean Business Network. They had their 70th anniversary on Sunday. I was there to celebrate with them. At our event, we welcomed Michael Forrester. Michael Forrester is the founder of Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. That we were not doing before because we were just locked into ourselves. But it's important that people need to realize moving from the red ocean to the blue ocean requires that you collaborate, not just compete, because there's enough room. If you're very sincere, there's enough room across the value chain for you to be disciplined in what you do and yet partner with other people. And that's pretty much what we're educating our members to do, and it's beginning to catch up. It's not always easy because it's tried. When you see people who are succeeding, it always seems easier, but you need to do your own due diligence and bring your own unique value of that position.
Yeah, we also have a set of people who are hesitant based on their experiences and sometimes not even knowing what they want to do, not having the right people who can mentor them, if you like, people like you, leaders in that space. What would be your message to them if they have been hesitant? Some of them, clearly, they're tired of their 9 to 5 and they want to switch gears and do something better. And some of them actually have come to this country with a lot of experience from business to what have you. What advice do you have for these people? And you've also talked about collaboration. You've talked about partnership. How can we ensure that people within certain geographical areas can actually partner? If the other one is having a screwdriver, the other one can have the hammer, and have that sort of partnership and make sure that the money stays within the Black communities.
Very good points you've asked. And the first thing is that I think it's important we realize that there's no idea that is new. The fact that that's why I commend people who are actually getting their fingers burnt, because many people have ideas. But one of the challenges that many people want the conditions to be perfect. There's a video I released today on this same topic. I have been a project manager for many years. And one concept I know and understand is what's called progressive elaboration. Progressive elaboration means you don't know the full picture, but at least you know the scope of what you're trying to do. And as you build, it gets better, it gets clearer, it gets more defined. Folks who want every condition to be perfect, they have the money, they have the resource, would never step forward. You need to put a bet on yourself. If I tell you the sacrifices I've made for this organization to where it is, you'll be amazed. Beginning of this year, I decided I was going to take a 9 to 5 job just so I could focus and hunker down. It has cost me salary, if you will, but it has helped me to know a lot. There are few people, and I say this modestly, who know as much about the economic development organizations in Canada as much as I've learned in the last 1 year. But it takes sacrifice. It's just not by wishing or whatever. And then the other thing, though, however, is that not everybody can afford to make the sacrifice I've made. I'm very grateful to my supportive family. So what they can do is have the idea, start small, test it, have a pilot, and then as you get more comfortable, you begin to build and take it better. With respect to the fact that one person has an idea, as you were suggesting, one thing I've also found out, there's nothing new. Initially, when we started as AMA Global, like I said, I was looking at other people because a lot of Caribbeans had gone ahead of us. And so I was looking at how these guys are ahead of us, etc. But eventually I realized many of the things we were trying to do, they had done. So what I realized, there's no point trying to reinvent the wheel. That's one of the things that led to the concept of collaboration, whereby we become partners. We stay here, we feed you, and you ensure that you're. But what we also do, we're very careful about who we partner with because we want to be sure that people get the best value for their service. So when we have this collaboration, then specialization becomes important. We are like a feeder system. We bring them on board, we provide the orientation, and then whether you want grants, we'll help you, we'll connect you with the grant writers or grant providers. If you want, different things, that's pretty much, and we also provide mentorship. I will tell you, however, the area of mentorship is where we have struggled with the most. Why? Because there are many mentors of professionals, but not many mentors of business owners, because that's still a growing and evolving industry. Many people just have theory. They don't have the experience. So we need to build it. We're still in early stages, but we'll get there.
Emmanuel, I have two questions in one right now. And one is, how can our viewers connect with you? Second question with that one is, do you have an event coming up soon or initiative that you like to highlight a little bit using this opportunity?
Thank you so much. Let me take the second one. So we had several events this year. A lot of them were aimed at providing orientation. What we're planning for January 18th, 2025 is a financial literacy program, whereby we can actually train people. We're working in partnership with one of the financial institutions. I can't yet reveal who they are, but the idea is to host it and ensure that we provide organizations and in the business owners different resources that they can take advantage of. Then we're also partnering with, I don't know if you know, but the Canada Africa strategy is about to be signed off, and that's a big deal. The Canada Africa strategy is going to open up doors to Africa, whereby there can be bilateral trade. One of our partner organizations, which I also founded to be in spirit of transparency, is called North American Chamber of Black Entrepreneurs. We are hosting a first of its kind economic empowerment summit on the week of the 12th of May, 2025, where we're bringing in people from different African countries and would include ministers here like Richie Valdez, Minister of Small Business, and Ahmed Hussein, Minister of International Development, and a number of partners. And what we'll do is to open up that landscape in terms of import, export, how we can ensure that we also support what is happening, not just in Canada, but also in Africa. Did you know, for instance, that in 2022, about $20 to $22 billion was spent as remittances, diaspora remittances to Nigeria.
Wow.
But only 0.9 billion was spent as foreign direct investment. So there's a potential gold mine in Nigeria. And did you also know that 20 to 22 billion is the official figure? The real figure is closer to around 40 to 50 billion, according to one of the officers of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So while we're trying to solve with those in Canada, we're also trying to solve outside so that we can actually have an ecosystem that is really, really great. Let me tell you what our strategy is in Global. Our goal is to leverage the same infrastructure that was used to facilitate slave trade, but now turned around to promote the economic empowerment of the Black community. It's a big, audacious goal, but we're going to move the needle.
Wow, this is interesting. I won't let you go without asking these other questions. Number one is, what are the opportunities that we have in this bridge that is about to be built between Africa and Canada in terms of trade and business? And then this event that comes up soon, I don't know where that is holding, if you can let us in on that, and how can people from my region, because I'm representing my region right now, the Nova Scotia, the maritime area, how can they get involved?
Okay, and I'm happy you asked this because we're still in the planning phase. It's a physical event, but what we're going to do because of what you said is to work on having a hybrid model whereby people can watch it. We can stream the event live and people can actually watch it. Our website is www.aneglobal.org, and we are very strong on social media. On Instagram, our handle is at the ANE Global. On LinkedIn, we are ANE Global. On YouTube, ANA Global. So we have platforms. My personal email address, because I'm very passionate about this, Emmanuel Adebola at anaglobal.com. Anybody can reach me because we are very passionate about this. There's a lot to be done, and we can do it together, working together to make it successful. I don't know if I answered all your questions.
Yeah, you touched on them, and I'll make sure I get you here again to talk more about these things because I'm already getting carried away. But what exactly is your vision in the next 5 years? What are you looking at achieving with your team? Are you thinking expanding? Is the maritime also part of that expansion plans that you have?
Yes, so we have a very simple process, and we're just building to it. Phase one, bring the organizations together, business, first of all, orientation, because you'll be surprised that even though we are growing in numbers, not everybody is setting up businesses. People just like to talk the talk. They don't do the work. So we're going to be holding them accountable and ourselves accountable. The definition of success for next year will not be that we go from 500 to 1,000 members or 1,500. As desirable as that is, it will be how many businesses were registered, how many businesses move from A to B. Those tangible, measurable results is what we're going to do. That's the first thing. Then we're also working on building a database that will allow our members to connect to other people. We're going to build a marketplace where they can take advantage of. Most likely it will be either a website or an app. And we're not just thinking Canada, we're thinking global. So that's why you don't have much to worry about, because we're going to plug in and ensure that Canada is taken care of, but then we're going to begin to expand to other continents where we already have members, but where they're itching to be part of what we're doing. And God helping us, we're going to be doing that. So we're going to build that infrastructure, like I said, that will allow you from the comfort of the home to just, whatever service you need. One other thing we're going to do very instructive is that if you've never been to a market before, you just ask the question, like leveraging AI. Just ask the information. We'll provide all of the answers, questions you need to be able to set up and run and have partners that will work with you to do that. We'll do that locally in Canada, but then we'll also expand that outside the country. So it's going to be fantastic. If I was born 7 times, I'll be born a black person. I'm very proud of who I am.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, what will be your final thoughts for our viewers?
Well, I would like to say to our viewers, this is November 2024. I know this is going to be on many years after for people to watch, but according to one of the former presidents of America, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Too many of us give responsibility of our future to unknown, to invisible forces. Do what you can with what you have, and other things will take care of themselves. Too many of us, you don't need to be another person. Just look inwards. God helping you. Do a SWOT analysis. What can I do? It's because many of us, the average person, human being, can do more than one thing. So people like me even have a challenge. I can do many things well. So one of the challenges I had was, what do I do? Don't bother doing everything. Just do what I tell people. What are the things you do well? Then what are the things you do extremely well? Build your business around the things you do extremely well, and the other things will take care of. So your future is bright. Your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you, regardless of what you found. And what I also found out in my crisis period, when I thought it was over, you can, stumble and whatever, but it's like the $100 bill. If you ask me, give me $100 bill, you want me to give it to you in meat. But if rather than give it to you in meat, I tear it, I spit on it, whatever. But you glue everything together, you present it on the counter. The value of the dollar is still the value of the dollar. So right. The challenges you have that you've had or you are having, do not belittle your ability, your capacity to be the better version of yourself. Refuse to give up. I'm writing a book, and I pray God will help me to finish it. I'll be 50 next year. It's called On the Rebound: How to Bounce Back from Failure, Hardship, and Disappointments. Folks, your best days are ahead of you. Sorry, I'm a marketplace minister, so occasionally I switch into that realm. I need to bring myself back to the room.
Emmanuel, you've stolen my heart away. And you've motivated me, empowered me, and made me bounce back. And I indeed so grateful for this wonderful opportunity we've had with you, squeezing us into your very tight schedule. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. And that was Emmanuel Tunde Adebola. He's been sharing his invaluable insights on the power of collaboration and its role in uplifting Black communities. Remember, collective success starts with taking small, little steps towards unity and partnership. Let's continue to build bridges and fostering connections that drive prosperity for all. Until next time, stay engaged, stay inspired, and stay connected.